How long did it take us this time? It took us a while this time. It took us like 20 plus hours because we had some stops and rain.
Yeah, we left yesterday at 12:30 and got here at 1 o'clock today. So it took us 24 and a half hours on the clock.
And we had a 55-mile stretch of fog where we had to go 30 miles an hour, not just because of the fog. We saw over 150 deer.
What is that when you say 20? Is it 24 hours of driving?
Yeah.
Or like it took you that long to get there?
With stops.
With stops.
And with a couple, with the weather, we had to slow down a little bit. Couldn't do the speed limit. So typically it takes us about 19 hours to get here.
Yeah.
If you put it on the map, what does it say?
19.
Whew. Okay.
Yeah.
Okeechobee. No. For me to Toho is I think 18, and Okeechobee's up there around 20 something, and the longest one I had was New York, the Champlain. One of them said like one. It didn't even show me hours. It said one day, and I was like, yeah, I don't like. Man,
I hate those ones. Those ones are bad.
Yeah, I've driven all the way from Arizona, Michigan to pick up boats and deliver boats.
Yeah.
That's usually what it says. 1 day and 10 hours or something like that to get there.
Oh, see, Michigan for me when we went up there was 18. It wasn't as bad. I think it was 18, something like that. It wasn't great. It wasn't fun. Like, it's hard to get like your mind wrapped around what you're about to go do.
Yeah.
But I will say y'all going together helps.
It does. And it helps to be able to drive all the way through. We bought a little Amazon bed for the back seat and a little blow up mattress, and fits perfectly in the bed or in the back seat of our trucks. And we take turns sleeping and driving.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So are y'all, so I don't know, people don't even realize, I didn't know, we didn't talk. So I didn't know y'all were coming down. I mean, now don't get me wrong. I talked to y'all months ago and told y'all about this and said, hey man, if you're going to make this deal, like you might as well fish for the most amount of money. And so I'm not saying I talked y'all into this, but I definitely was like, hey man, make sure this is on your radar. And I didn't know till like yesterday, and I was clicking through something. And when I went to click, it went like I was going through Instagram, just doing this or something. And next thing I know, I went like that. And it just so happened and I clicked on when y'all were live, and it like at the same time. And I was like, oh, cool. And when I showed that, and I was like, oh man, these guys are coming. Cool. So I instantly jumped on there and was like, hey man, let's do a podcast, because I still find all this pretty cool that y'all are coming down here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are y'all doing this one and the TXTT or just this one?
Yeah, we got 11.
No
11
way.
Total. 11 total this year coming. Yeah, we got two
we'll
long
be here like
stands.
about 60 days worth of fishing days here total this year.
Now are y'all aren't staying? Y'all are leaving after this, right?
After this one, yeah, but we have 2 different times. We'll be here one time. Well, so the next one, February 14th, we'll be here 3 weeks straight.
So the TXTT in like February, 17th, and then the next week's the Toyota, and then
well, the next one's Conroe for Brandonbelt. The weekend after. And then it's the Brandonbelt Grand Slam.
Well, yeah, okay. So I forgot about this. So me and Russell have a Toyota series on Rayburn. And like, so we won't practice at all for the Conroe. And I don't know what happens if we both make the cut. We hadn't really talked about that.
Man, you guys would be sorely missed.
Well,
I mean, we wouldn't have to fish against you. We're not complaining. So
what do we said something that
don't go making the cut. Don't make it easy on us now, all right?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about we've thought about it, but we hadn't really talked about it, because I mean me and Russell have made the cut quite a few times together, but usually not. But even if and there's a good chance one of us, I have no problem if I'm in like 25th going, and he's up there. I don't know what we're gonna do. We'll talk about this weekend. But yeah, that's right. It's Conroe, And then if y'all are already down here, I don't know if y'all know, the next week is a Bass Champs on Rayburn. If y'all are staying for the next week, which is the Grand Slam, I think, or something like that. Well, there's a Bass Champs rolled up in there in like March 2nd that you might as well get in.
We might as well.
You're already down here. It's you get to practice Friday, and I mean we just fished one, and
we fished a couple Bass Champs in 2021 preparing for Texas Team Trail.
Yeah, so I mean
last year we did a Choke Canyon.
Oh yeah, Choke Canyon. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be on Rayburn, so it's going to be. I mean, it's a warm up to the Grand Slam anyway. So
yep,
kind of sounds like a no brainer.
Oh, I'm sure we'll probably do it.
What's this guy said? This guy was like, you always talk like you hate Conroe. I don't remember ever saying that. So the first boat I ever won was on Conroe. I like Conroe. I don't even know where. I can't even remember ever saying something bad about Conroe. Like I grew up on Livingston, and then I just never tried. Like when I say that, we'd have fished tournaments, but I was like 16, 17 years old, and around 18 or 19. I went over there to Conroe and yeah, I won some tournaments at Conroe. But yeah, the first boat I ever won was at Conroe, and man, I like Conroe. I don't know what that's about. I don't get to fish it that much, because Russell kind of goes over there and does his thing, and I just don't really. A lot of their tournaments are like smaller, and it's not worth the drive. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And he kind of does this thing over there. He's got a couple guys he fishes with. So, but I don't know. Conroe's all right.
We've never been there. We'll find out if we like it.
It's a weird lake because it's different in the fact of like it's almost all bulkheaded up and houses and everything like that. It's not. But yet there's giants on the lake. It can fish you. It's one of those places that'll piss you off because you could go out there and get like 1 or 2 bites, and then some guy brings in like 29, and you're like, whoa, where? But there's not, there's not a lot of fish to be caught there. I mean, there is
kind of like Richland Chambers, right?
Yes,
a lot of big fish, but a
lot
of
like
population.
Yeah, and there might be like 5 to 10 guys that catch them, and you're like, well, golly, and then it drops off, but it does. And it's a 16-inch limit over there.
Oh.
Yeah, so that kind of plays into it a little bit too. So like when you see stringers of 5-fish stringers, they're usually it's like hard to catch anything under like 12.5 pounds.
Makes sense. 16-inch limits, that's not.
I think we have some tournaments where they're like
12-inch, 13-inch.
12-inch limit.
Yeah.
It's got big ones in it though. I mean, And it's better now. Like we're going there at a good time. Like they could be. I mean, I've seen them spawn over there in January, but I'm just saying, like it's not going to be like unless something changes and it kind of warms up. But I mean, it's pretty far down south. Like it stays pretty like us and Rayburn. Or I mean, Rayburn and Conroe, they could be like 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
To where it's different, but
it makes sense.
It's good.
Like Choke too. Choke was like.
Oh yeah,
from all those as well.
I've done a lot of studies on that, like looking at like where they all sit, and on a map and going, okay, well, these all line up. So I'm always trying to figure out if like, are we a week early or a week late, or okay, we're right here, and this, on the map it's like that much lower, and so I'm like, okay, it should be a 2 to 3, 4 degrees warmer, which is a big deal in the springtime.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I caught a bedfish the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
Already?
Back home, yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yep. Arizona for you.
Yeah.
Is it that? Well, I mean, it depends on, I guess, where y'all are at. But I mean, is it that warm?
It can really vary there.
We get a week. Like there has been a couple weeks not too long ago where it was in the 70s, up in the high 70s.
So I love places like that because they'll start spawning. The spawns are usually like drawn out big time. That's how Florida is too, because they'll spawn and then fronts come through and knock them back. And so you can have this like 3.5 month long spawn going on.
Oh, well, here's the kicker for us. It's actually way longer than that.
We've caught them all the way through the year.
July, August.
I think the latest I've caught one is like probably in September. A bedfish. We have a lake.
what?
A
For
lake
which?
that's
For
it's
which
set up in a
season?
canyon.
Like
So-
late or early?
They just
Does
do it
that
every
make-
month on the full moon. They do
Well,
it on certain parts of the lake.
Yeah, it's because our Salt River chain is all basically a river system. So all every lake by the dam will pop off with bedfish up in the river in the summer on full moons. And you can kind of chase it through the lowest one, which is Saguaro to Canyon to Apache, and you can chase a spawn literally through, like I said, August, September sometimes.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's
I don't
nuts.
even know. I'm going to be quiet on that because I don't even know what's going on.
What it is
it's weird.
They're
It's
in
just weird.
a deep canyon, so they only get sunlight for a couple hours of the day on that part of the lake.
And the water temperature is right.
And the water,
because of the flows.
The water that's getting pulled from the next lake above it is coming out of the bottom of that lake, so it's cold, real cold water.
Yeah, so like you'll be in July and it'll be 62-degree water up in the river, maybe even colder sometimes.
Yeah.
That's
When it's 120 in Phoenix.
So what's crazy is like where Rayburn Conroe's spawn lasts way longer than Rayburn's, and Rayburn lasts a pretty good ways. But it's crazy too because like you wouldn't think you would catch fish like that. I've caught some big ones like in May, but it's so hot down there. It's crazy that like fish will start spawning in February and then May you can do it because when you go up north, like the further north you go up, like the spawn's so short. And I've seen it where like every fish in the lake starts going, and then within a month to 3 weeks I don't believe that they're all done, but I mean, I will say that it's amazing how many that like a whole lake will push at the same time.
Mm.
But it seems like that's a northern thing. Like the further north you go, the faster they spawn, and then the further south you go, the longer they spawn. Is what I'm not saying anyone said that. That's just what I've always seen.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I mean, we've seen the same thing.
It's like a martini.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, so y'all guys are down. We talked before about this. I know y'all fish a lot in Arizona, but I mean, are they still not getting tournaments? I mean, they obviously don't have tournaments like this.
No, nothing like this. I mean, the tournament directors are doing the best they can with what they have to work with, and it's a lot different out here because you've got so many different bodies of water and big bodies of water that you can run a bunch of different tournament circuits and do fine and still draw enough boats. Out there, we've got like 5 lakes to choose from around the Phoenix area. And other than that, then you got to travel 3 or 4 hours to Havasu or Meade, and a lot of guys don't like to travel that far. They want to do it close to home. A lot of them, weekend warriors that do it, outside of work
or they're stacked on top. There'll be two or three tournaments all on the same day.
Yeah.
So you can't get into all the series and fish all the different circuits because you'll miss. If they have 3 on one day, you only fish 1 because the other 2 had different lakes, and now you're out of it for AOI and those 2. So you got to pick and choose. So kind of the boats just get divided between the few circuits that we do have.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what's going on here too. Is I don't know if I catch any. I'm sure tournament directors sometimes don't like it because I kind of like speak up because I'm going, what are we doing over here, guy? I mean, so there. I've never liked it, and they're hurting themselves when they do this. But yeah, when they start putting stuff on top of each other, and even the small ones, it's just they're hurting each other. And I don't know why they do it. I mean, I know why they do it because they all want to make money.
Yeah.
When they do it,
I mean, they're shooting themselves in the foot when it comes down to it. And on top of that, like, it's so hard to like all the tournament directors to cooperate together because you'll have 2 or 3 tournament directors that work great together, and then one guy doesn't, and it's just decides I'm going to put it whenever I want.
For example, at Roosevelt Lake earlier in the year, we fished 3 different tournaments. They were all on the same lake, so they coordinated it to where we were able to fish all of them. So if they're gonna,
that's cool if
stack,
it works like that.
If they're gonna stack on top of each other, at least do it at the same lake so you could double dip into both tournaments. You know,
Exactly.
you don't ruin your whole season. So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. You know, being able to get into 3 tournaments on the same day on the same lake, and then get first, second, third, and big fish in 2 of them. So that was pretty cool.
So me and Russell, the last tournament it wasn't maybe the last tournament I fished, but one of the last tournaments I fished with Russell on Conroe, there was 2 of them and we won it. We had like 31 pounds and then we had big bass. So we won both tournaments and won big bass in both events. But I mean, I'm trying to, if it works out, they also had the tournaments like right next to each other. So we just had a bass champs last weekend. And I was talking to like Chris McCall and Clayton Bolware. Of course, they'll be here this weekend. They fished bass champs. They made a top 10 as well. And they got in media bass. So because the media bass director called me because I fished a media by myself like in January or December 30th, came in second. And so I just was kind of like, I hadn't been fishing like 2 or 3 weeks. I wanted to kind of go practice and it was going on. So I went and did it, and they're like, hey, you're going to fish the next one. And I'm like, I don't know. It's the same day as bass champs. Well, then you get out there and the bass champs one, you had to stop at 3. I don't know what the media bass was. It might've been the same thing, or I don't know if it was a trailer or not, but then you had to like go up there, weigh in your fish, do all that. I don't know if it was trailer or not. And if it wasn't trailer, then that means you have to leave a little earlier.
See, and that's one thing with Arizona, and I don't know what your guys' rule is on transportation because we've never fished 2 derbs at once out here. But like for us, you can't transport fish in a live well on the road. You have to do it by water. So it's illegal to transport bass in let's say you're at 2 different ramps. You can't drive to that ramp with your limit with those bass in your live well. It's illegal.
Okay, so our only deal about transporting fish is you're just not allowed to transport fish and then let them go in another lake. But there's obviously, we have trailer tournaments all the time, but you would go there and we would probably have gone by boat to media bass, weighed in our fish. They give it back to us, put them back in the live well. And then we could trailer bass champs. Now, I don't know if I didn't get in media bass anyways. I just didn't get in it because I was like, man, I don't know. First place wasn't probably that much money, but bass champs for us, if we won, was going to be over like 42 grand. But still, bass champs was still over 25 grand. So we're sitting there going, even if that's like 15 minutes where we would have had to have stopped early to try to maybe go win a tournament you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we ended up not doing it. Clayton, I don't know which one told me, but they were like, yeah, we signed up for media and didn't go weigh in our fish. And I think 14 pounds won media, I think.
Oh.
And, we had 19. McCall and them had like 23 or 24. And so.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But I mean, we try and, like I said, a lot of times they're in separate parts of the lake. So it makes you can do it, but it's one of those deals where,
you lose some fishing.
Yeah. If there's a chance at it and the tournaments are that big of a disparity on payout, you're like, man, I don't want to give up that 15 minutes. And I know we caught a giant coal at the end of the day, and he said they did too. So, once again, I was looking at this like, and I don't know the Alabama Bass Trail. I'm on their schedule. And it says like there isn't really any big team tournament in the country besides APT. I mean, we've got 2 down here that are bigger, and by a lot. Like what we're fishing for this week is 50 grand.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Guaranteed, no matter how many boats show up.
Yeah, they're saying 15,000 guaranteed, and I'm not. Alabama Bass Trail is awesome, But I've never really gone around the country and really looked at other trails because I know we have the best ones. And when I talk about the best ones, Alabama Bass Trail might be run better than every other trail. Like I've heard nothing but good things about that place. But like Bass Champs it was 25 grand first place guaranteed. And I think second was 10. But here, first place is 50, second's 20, third's 10. I mean, they don't give away 50 grand till like the championship. We give away 100.
Yep.
And it says entry fees $1,600 per team. Ours is Brandon Belt's $1,200.
Yeah.
So see, I
Sometimes
mean,
stats are everything.
I don't know. I keep on going and trying to find like. I know they had a
I'm gonna have to
tournament
be
the
with
other
Pete
day.
on this one.
Do what?
I'm with Pete on this one.
Well, I'm not saying it's bad, but I keep on looking for the results on their website. And like I go to their website, I'm on it right now. Like I tried to do this the other day and I can't I know they had one the other day. Because they were talking about it. It was at Logan Martin, I think, or something.
Yeah.
But I still can't find the results. Maybe someone will like I said, I'm trying to find the results because I'm like, man, and that
Anybody
might
got
be
the results
only
out there?
huh?
Said anybody got the results for the ABT?
Someone will. But I wanted to see. Oh, and even TTO. TTO's giving away 15 grand guaranteed. So I mean, there's 3 right there that are probably and the TTO entry fees are like 2 or there's something like less than 300.
Wow.
I don't think people realize what we got going on down here.
That's why we're traveling from Arizona, Todd.
I know. Oh, so get this. The TTOs, 20,000 guaranteed first place, 10,000 guaranteed second place at each event. $300 entry fee.
Holy smokes.
So I mean, I'm not talking bad about the Alabama Bass Trail, but I'm just going 20 grand for first, 10 grand for second with a $300. Hold on.
No, but the key word there that people don't get is guaranteed.
Guaranteed. It's
because
guaranteed.
like our tournaments are not guaranteed in Arizona for the most part, unless it's typically a championship or something.
Yeah.
It's based on how many boats we get. So, you know, we could go win a derby, you know, with 20 boats, and we would have won it still with 100 boats or not, and the payout is, you know, $2 grand. But you know, you get 100 boats and you get a payout of 7,500, 8,000 for a, you know, a normal weekend event.
It's crazy too. And what I just saw this too is that like in the TTOs, what's not bad about the TTOs, it's like there's nothing bad about it. They're going to all these other lakes that none of these bigger tournaments go to. So like they're killing it. And I like those guys. I mean, those guys were the ones who kind of worked with us on doing that platinum trail deal that we did that basically was a success. We just couldn't. It's basically what the Brandon Belt was before the Brandon Belt.
Gotcha.
And in my opinion, and when I talked to those guys, this is another thing I wanted to say. When I talked to those guys, I explained to them about side pots.
Yes.
And I said, side pots are the number one best thing in fishing.
Yes.
Besides incentives.
100%.
But
better than just a side pot is options for like different, like a red, blue, and green. Because then you get a guy that's in 10th place that wins the side pot and wins an extra grand.
So we had, when we did the platinum stuff, I was like, hey, set it up to where here's what people need to know about side pots. There's a reason why people don't do them. And this is real simple. There's only one reason, because there's nothing bad about it. Zero. You will never find one thing bad.
I think I know where you're going with this, but I want to see what is it? It's
100% payback.
Yep.
Yeah, so
you're having to do a little bit more work, but you're not getting the actual. like the tournament directors aren't getting anything out of that money. So if every tournament had that, every fisherman should be like, hey, that's the best thing ever, because we're putting our money in and it's 100% we're getting it back, all cash, right? Well,
but why not? Why don't they?
Exactly. Well, because it's a little bit of like math, right? They got to do a little bit of math, right? You got to add up
a little bit of confidence too.
Well,
you know?
yeah, I know. And so I told them about it and I explained. And here's the other thing. I hate first place being so high. I think so many trails mess up because they put first place like extremely high. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want a higher first place, but that's why I want more people in the event, right?
Yeah.
And so then you can pay out everyone, right? But what happens is if 100% of this money and you pay 50% of it to first, then there's only 50% to go down the rest. And I said, hey, look, with side pots, don't do that. Just make like first, second, and third a little bit higher, and then you can pay down the list. Well, then what happens is there's these side pots where the 10th place side pot is way more than the 10th place check.
Yep.
Because you don't have to pay, and so you look at the payout of $100 extra bucks, and there's a lot of money in there from first through 10th. And then guys are like, well, I'm not going to get in the side pot. We'll make it top 10, finish 8th, and look at the guy in 10th just blow you out in the money. Yep. And you're like, oh, that was stupid. I'm going to get in the side pot next time.
We've done that many times. We take a third place and win more than second or first.
Yeah.
Because we are all in every single one.
It's a no-brainer. You're not out anything. I don't care if 10 people get in it or 100 people get in it. It's still coming back to you. So it's just some guys maybe don't want to do a little math at the end of the day and write some different checks. But I always said is when you look at this, like when you sit around and someone goes, hey, 20,000 guaranteed, 10,000 for second. Well, I've always been one of those advocates, and Bass Champs is doing it now, and I applaud them. It's not even applaud. It's smart. I've been saying this for years. All the incentive money, make sure you put that incentive money in the results.
Yes.
And you do that because, for one, who cares? It's not your money. I did a video on this and said it's free money. Incentives is free money, right?
And there's a couple in Arizona that do that. I know Fishing 48 Nick in his events, he's very, very straightforward with the payouts. Bass Junkies as well. A couple others, Lyle Dinosaur with Southwest Fishing, but not all of them. Not all of them even post the results afterwards.
I know. Well, and so like Bass Champs just had it, and they had us the second highest finisher winning $5,000. So it does, like, in my opinion, I don't care if Bass Champs gives me the money, Skeeter gives the money. I don't care if freaking Willy Wonka Factory decides to throw in money, right? If they're going to throw in money, put it on the result.
Willy Wonka would throw in chocolate.
Yeah, what? No, I was bad. But whoever that is, if you put it on the results, I don't care how you figured out how to get the money in there to us. Put it in there, because it's saying instead of you giving away 80%, you're literally giving away all this extra cash, and you can show it on the results. What do we care where the cash comes from? Like, yeah. I don't care where they get it from.
Yeah.
Right. And so like same thing with side pot money. We're going to guarantee $20,000, but if 200 people show up and we take all that side pot money, I'm going to put that in there too. So not only did we give away that, now we're giving away, first place won $26,000, right? Or whatever. And so it just makes your tournament look better. That, like, instead of the guy going, hey, I made $1,800 and I won a tournament, and some other guy was like, yeah, man, I caught the same amount of weight and won 26,000.
Yeah.
It's no brainers. And some of these guys, companies are not, or organizations are not like thinking these things through, Yeah.
It looks like we got a lot of comments.
Yeah, I haven't. So is ABT 100 different trail run by ABT? Like, I don't know anything about Alabama Bass. I don't know. And like TTO is a 7,000 extra in for a Phoenix. Hold on. I saw ABT. First was $25,000. Second was $12,500. Entry fee was $1,000. It might be, but that was ABT 100. See, I don't. Okay, here it is. 1752 1, 25,000, 20th, 925, 1500. Now, well, Bass Champs was 25 grand for first, and I think they paid 1,400 down to 20th place as well.
That's
But
along
the
the midline. Yeah.
but the entry fee was 400.
Yeah.
This guy's saying the entry fee was 1,000. Like, we're getting different. I'm trying to find it all now. Hold on. Got to search ABT 100. Okay, sorry. That'll work. Thanks, guys. So I was searching the wrong thing.
I'm learning something new every day.
Right.
I wondered if. Okay, I was guessing. I'm like, I wonder if ABT 100 is top 100 teams, which is a different deal. I will say, if you're only going to let in 100, which I have zero problem with that, that's why. Then it's going to be a good deal. And I say that because, hold on, I'm getting it. It's a good deal because you're only having to beat, in Bass Champs, we had to beat 200 people, right? Instead of 100.
Yeah.
What's going on here? All right. 25, 1250, 10,000, 9,000, 7,500, 6,000 for sixth, 5, 4, 3. Scott Cannonberry finished ninth. 3, 2, 15, 15. Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. I guess has the with $1,000 entry fee. But see, okay, they have Phoenix and Garmin in here. I wonder if there was Phoenix Garmin money. The only thing I'll say, Alabama Bass Trail, I don't know this, but I see no incentive money shown. There's got to be some incentive money somewhere in there. Like the guys that won had a Phoenix. I don't know if they're sponsored by Phoenix. It says, well, wait a minute. It says sponsors. I don't know. Someone will help me out there. But like in Skeeter, in the Bass Champs deal, if you had a Skeeter, then it shows. And Skeeter has like Skeeter real money. So if we'd have won, we would have won 7,500 from Skeeter real money. Bass Champs has it already set up, and I think TTO does too. Just like the BPTs, or not BPTs, but anything MLF. Like you win a Toyota out of a Phoenix, they automatically pay you. That's already in there. So they're going to pay you like
it's in the first.
Yeah, it's 80 grand plus 25 grand.
Yeah.
So like you should like, I'm just saying, if ABT, I don't know if I'm not looking at it close, but you definitely put, like, if they won money for having the right boat, and you need to put that in your payout as that's part of the payout. Like, show it on the results. I think it's a no-brainer to show that. Why not? Like it really makes your trail look better.
Yeah.
I don't like to roast all of Duncan's trail. I'm saying like the Alabama Bass Trail is good. I mean, they are. I think they're like outside of Texas. There's probably not another trail as good as them.
Yeah, sounds like they have fairly really actually
Good
sounds like they have
payouts.
some really good payouts.
Yeah, I do need to talk to Duncan. I do need to talk to Duncan. He hadn't called me back.
Dip into later on in life.
Duncan would want. Duncan won't call me back. I'll try to get Hackney on here. Hackney hadn't called me back in like a couple. I texted him the other day because he was like, he got mad at. See, wait a minute. See, so 1,500. See, is it 1,500 or 1,000? See, y'all are all making me look this stuff up. Rules.
Entry fee is 3,000.
No, he said he messed up on that. and he changed it to 1,500. But I've gotten 1,500.
Well, it says 1,500 each.
Teams may register with a 1,500 non-refundable deposit. The 1,500 balance must be paid by Wednesday. Hey, Tom, I'm doing a podcast. Can I call you back?
Big time over
here. I'm literally live right now. Yeah, and I answered your phone. Yeah, I'm talking to Tom Brubaker of Strike King. Yeah, everyone.
Oh,
yeah.
What's up?
Oh, I will share it. Go ahead. Uh-huh. Okay, let me share all that and I'll call you back. Okay. All right. But that was taking too long, Tom. So anyone, which is cool. So we are now, he said I could say this. We are now the main sponsor, or I don't know, main sponsor. We are now a sponsor of the Texas Share Lunker program. Strike King is.
That's pretty cool.
And so if you enter anything into the Share Lunker program, apparently we're going to be giving away some big giant prize package. So he was asking me some then he started asking me what colors. I'm like, wait. I can call you back on that.
So we need to catch a share lunker this year is what you're saying.
Catch a share lunker, Strike Kings. I don't know all the details.
As long as they give me a bunch of scound bugs, I'm good.
But you need some scound bugs?
Oh, I love them scound bugs.
I'll bring a couple with me. I'll share a little bit.
I got a couple. Copper State's got them pretty well stocked.
ABT 100 is $3,000 entry fee. So is that $1,500 a person?
That's what it sounds like. That's pretty high entry fee, honestly.
Yeah, that doesn't seem.
Yeah. See, that'd be when we wouldn't get into one.
That's not worth it.
Because that's
travel.
Really high risk. Because now with the travel, you're looking. It would cost us $5,000 or $6,000 to go fish that tournament.
And second place is what?
So we would have to first or second.
This is why. This right here, all the comments we've got, this is great. I need to ask more questions about this because this is why
we're sitting you on the merry-go-round.
Exactly. So now it's 3,000.
It sounds like you need to do a podcast with the tournament director from that series.
I am.
Get Duncan on here.
And be like, hey, yeah, because I'm like, apparently, this is really difficult for people to figure it out.
1,000 per tournament don't sound bad, but 3,000 per tournament, that's that's a little steep.
So 3,000. So yeah. Look at this. Hey, look. When one of your bosses calls it Strike King, I'm gonna answer it. And it was. He gave away really good information, right? He's like, hey, well, I got you on here. Tell everyone about that. You have to pay $3,000 up front to register. It's got to be $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Remember we were talking about a series that's how you'd almost have to do it back home because you couldn't guarantee nothing. So, but if you can get everybody to pay up front, then you could guarantee because you'd have to make the tournament wouldn't go on until you get this many boats in your series or whatever. So
you got to lock in. You got to lock in and that's, I'm sure, Alabama's kind of experiencing, probably not on the level that Arizona is, but experiencing that volume of boats that's non-committal. And by having, up front, $3,000, then you can guarantee that $50,000, $25,000 payout for X amount of tournaments. But I wish that would come to Arizona. I wish something like that would come to Arizona because I think there'd be a lot of guys that would be very interested in that because nothing's guaranteed typically here. I mean, even in some championships, we don't even know how much we're going to win. We have no clue.
Right.
It'd be nice to be like, hey, this is for $20,000. Well, we fish every tournament we see for 10 or 20 grand. I'll tell you that.
Well, and let me tell you something. So there were some guys trying to do when we were doing that trail. There was a lot of people wanted to make it 50, cut it off at 50, and make it a $2,500 entry fee. And everyone, a lot of people might. What's funny is when you hear 2,500, it's like ooh. But here's the funny thing: Toyotas in Texas, they're almost all Texas guys. It gets 200 guys putting up $1,800 by themselves. So 2,500 with a team is nothing when you can fill up Toyotas like it's crazy. Bass Opens this year going to 2,000 by yourself. So I mean, it's not even that big of a. It's really crazy because
I will say this to that point though. There's only one I think key little difference is you're making all that money yourself if you do cash that check. So there's no split.
But the ratio's irrelevant. I mean, the ratio not irrelevant. The ratio is probably going to be the same. So, like I said, my whole deal is at some point in time, entry fees are too high, right? And I don't know where that is. But the way I look at it is if I'm going to drive from Arizona to Texas, by golly, I want to do it for some of your biggest cost is the entire way of getting there. Once you're there, the entry fee, it's like, hey, you might win a tournament and win 10 grand and go, well, what was that for? But now at least I'd rather put up the entry fee and go, hey, at least now I'm here. Now there's actually some money to be won. That's the way I look at it. Y'all are a totally different scenario though. I mean, y'all are driving way too far. This other stuff, look, man, I've got some heat. I've heard some backhanded comments towards me. I've heard some little people say stuff on Instagram and Facebook because I have zero problem calling out the guys from Rayburn. I always want to be never known as a Rayburn guy because I think Rayburn guys have, and they should have bad raps, right? And one of their biggest ones is they're scared to leave Rayburn. They'll make up all these excuses they want to, but they don't want to go fish another lake. And I'm like, man, y'all want
we have a lake like that in the northwest corner of Arizona for the most part.
Right. And it's frustrating because they'll give you some reasons, but man, we all know we know what it is and they don't want to go anywhere. And I'm like, hey, look, man, we get our teeth kicked in too when we travel at times, but if we travel, it gets other people to travel. And then the next thing you know, you have these big tournaments. What hurts every tournament is participation.
Well, and so, speaking of that, I got to throw this in there really quick. We have 2 other teams from Arizona traveling for Texas Team Trail this year coming with us.
Who's that?
Preston Carroll and Laren Porter.
Really?
And Tim Skellett, who's one of our sponsors, and he's going to fish with Dan Nicholson out here.
Really? The regular ABT is 15,000. Entry fee is 1,600 per team, 320 per tournament.
There's another one.
Huh? Read that. They must. Okay. Okay.
Saying something different.
Yeah.
No. I figured it out. We've never said this. So I think what's going on is, and maybe this is what they have to do. Maybe in the Alabama Bass Trail, you have to sign up for all of them.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So 320 times 5, right, is going to be 1,600. So because that's what's throwing me off is they keep on adding it. So none of our trails are like that. None of our trails, if you want to fish 3 out of the 4, fish 3 out of the 4. So no one ever sits there and goes, down here, no one ever says this is our entry fee for the year to fish all of them.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just didn't. That's what's throwing me off is they're adding in all the entry fees and then putting that number down. It's throwing me off because I'm not used to that. So you got some guys from Arizona chiming in, I assume.
Anthony Avalos and Jacob Reynoso will be Roosevelt bullies for show. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's some hammers on Roosevelt. Actually, anywhere they go, they're hammers. So
yeah, what's great. I don't know these guys. So I'll just let you know. Sometimes every once in a while, people will throw up names on comments, and it could be for 1,000 different reasons. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm not even clicking on for whatever reason. I just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, yeah,
I'm
those
not
are
even-
those are
I'm not
those
even
are our
bringing
buddies.
these people.
Yeah, shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and I don't know them, so like I'll just click on people's names. I could care less. Y'all have to deal with it.
Let's see some more. What you got?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm looking at.
You got a filter. You might get a not so nice one.
Oh man, no.
Oh yeah, so
Man,
that's what happens when you start talking bad about people.
Exactly right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, and I don't blame. There's some guys that don't want to travel too much because Rayburn does have it all. But I'm just saying, when you pick and choose those trails, that's how trails. Like, so everyone from Dallas, they've complained for like 20 years because we don't have this like North Texas trail, but like they've tried it for 25, 30 years and it's never worked because there's a group of Dallas guys that will freaking fish anywhere, right? Like we know them all, but as many people and fishermen that live up there, and I think part of it's they have so many little small lakes that they all want to go fish their little small lakes and don't want to travel around and fish some of the bigger ones. Like it's because the bigger lakes up there are like Richland Chambers and Texoma, and half those people don't like those two lakes. So it's like, wait a minute, you can't just pick and choose what lakes you are from up there. We're down here, luckily, and we like the two best lakes in the country are Rayburn and Toledo, or not country, but the state. And there's not a lot of small lakes around here, so like we all just get accustomed, like this is what it is, and we all just get used to it. But I'm just telling you, participation is what kills every trail.
Oh,
and
100%.
so I'm not saying when you jackpot them, but if you don't follow the trail, eventually the numbers will drop off. And then once they start dropping, it's hard to like get them back.
Yeah.
Because like what you said, you never know what you're fishing for. So all of a sudden you show up to an event, you're all ready, and then like 120 guys show up and you're going, and they guarantee 20 grand for first, and now second's like 2 grand. And you're going, oh, well, this sucks,
Yep. 100%.
I figured out, I got the whole ABT thing down now. I got it. Off the top of my head, it seems to me that it's 320 for the ABT regular team series, North and South. So they like to say, okay, that's 1,600 a year for a year. And then the other one seems to be 1,000. So it's 3,000 a year, which like I said, I've never said before. And that's limited to 100 teams, which I like. There's a reason to do the 100 team things, and I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Because you know what you're getting. You don't have to beat as many people. And it's like, hey, we're not handing out ribbons here. Beat the best people, go get your money, move on to the next one.
Yeah, the tournament director is not winning. Because like in a $20,000 guaranteed, like bass champs, for example, say it's guaranteed. Let 30 guys show up. That's a win for you if you win, because you only had to beat 30 guys. And the tournament director loses because he doesn't get the money back because he didn't get the boats. But if he gets say he draws 500 boats, he's still only paying 20 grand.
I know.
So,
and then they just start paying like further down, and I'm going. So some guy, 40 guys catch over, 17 pounds, and some guy caught 11 and is still getting a check. And I'm like, man, no offense. At some point in time, you got to like cut that off and just put it. I like a top heavy payout.
Yeah,
and what I mean is like 200 guys, man, you make a top 10, dude, you did something. And I don't mind paying down further, but like at a certain point in time, it has to cut off. But a lot of people don't like that because they want to make, they're not going to make anything. They're just going to make their entry fee back. But I'm like,
it's a little bit of that participation trophy kind of thing.
Yeah. At some point in time, people need, it's still a tournament. It's a competition.
I'm all for that top heavy payout. That's for sure.
I see that. So y'all got 2 other people. Are they going to fish? What are they going to do? Are they going to do all of them?
Texas Team Trail.
So just that one or both?
Yeah, just that one.
The whole season though.
Yeah, the whole season.
For Texas team.
And Creston and Laren are hammers in Arizona as well.
So y'all have like 5 lakes, and those are the 5 lakes.
And we have a few more than that, but as far as like close to the Phoenix area within, and honestly, well, it's Roosevelt, Saguaro, Canyon, Apache haven't had tournaments because we had a fish kill. Some tournaments are coming back to Saguaro. Canyon's really small. There's not many tournaments ever on it. But Apache and Saguaro had tournaments in the past on it. Those were big tournament lakes, starting to come back. And then you got Pleasant and Bartlett.
We got 9 lakes in Arizona, like tournament lakes.
Yeah, but the Martinez, the Meade, the Mojave, the Havasu, all those are 3 to 4 or 5 hours away, and a lot of people don't want to drive that far for a $2,000 payout.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't either. Not for $2,000.
Exactly.
That's what frustrate. Like, there's some things that frustrate me, but I'm like, man. I mean, Bass Champs is rolling around giving, Bass Champs, Brandon Belt, all these things. They're going out. I mean, 50 grand. Brandon Belt this weekend's 50 grand. And we're fishing out. We're like, Russell has a Vexus, and I think his incentive money is like 10 grand. So like, we're really fishing for 60 grand this weekend.
I can smell it.
It's there.
It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed.
It's amazing that this thing doesn't have 400 people. For 400 teams. So,
I could definitely see it. I mean, they continue the way they're going. It's gonna be a big deal. It already is a pretty big deal, but they're doing stuff right.
They're asking where this one guy is, and he's the first person I've ever banned in 4 years on YouTube. I'm sure a lot of people were like, no, I gave him a warning. You don't have to deal with all of his comments and like just nonstop. And then, like I said, he just
You're spooky.
he'll comment on here like 5,000 times about live scope. And it's the same boring old, it's cheating. Everyone's cheating. It's horrible. I mean, there's no like any kind of anything with it. It's just nonstop.
Yeah.
And so
rip spooky.
And then I had all this then I have it on my other like YouTube channel, and he just constantly, and I was going, and then he made a comment that he was like, y'all called me. It was me, Ish, and Andrew, and he was going off like, dude, we don't mess with anyone on here or like but he's like, y'all called me a Louisiana trash, and I'm like, that doesn't even sound like any of us. That's not one, you just made that up. And so when you make something up like that, like, we'll claim it. We'll claim you're an idiot. We might have said that, but we didn't call you. Like, at least if you're going to get the insult right. And if you get the insult wrong, I'm like, nobody called anybody Louisiana. Man, come on. And that's what really made me mad. I'm like, well, now you're just lying. And so, like, out of here. I told him, I said, if you don't quit, I'm gonna ban you. And then I was like, yeah, I'm ban you.
Done, banned.
I'm telling you, man, people are like, see, look, all these people, like, like, I mean, look, I wasn't the only one. Like, everyone's, it probably was Luke Duncan. Probably was.
Oh, that's funny.
But I mean, look at all these guys. No one liked him. He became
move of the year.
I mean, I'm just telling you, like, he got like, he was kind of funny to me for a while, but then it was like, well, he's from Louisiana too, and so and we always, and for obvious reasons, like, Louisiana's the worst. Like, so many of my friends are from Louisiana, right? But Louisiana is known for those guys like absolutely being, they go and eat all their fish. And everyone talks about it. It's not something like we're making up. They'll admit it. They have like Facebook pages of where like all you do is see people on there cleaning and eating bass. Like,
oh geez,
you'll see like 40 giant 3 to 5 pounders on like cleaning tables. Like they're proud of it. And then the other guys from Louisiana like hate it. Like the bass fishermen that like fish, like they don't like it either.
Yeah.
But he was from there, and he was just everyone had enough of him.
That's funny.
I mean, I'm telling like people
Like
I said, I'm not the one making this up. Everyone knows. No one.
That's a good one.
No one moves to Louisiana. That's so great right there.
That's funny.
I want to bring this up. So like I want to look. I'm going to find out from the Alabama Bass Trail. Hey, y'all know so much about the Alabama Bass Trail. Is there incentives for like boats, or like what's their incentive stuff? I'm sure there's incentives as far as like within, like Skeeter has their own incentive program. Vexus does. I'm sure Phoenix does. Nitro does. All of those. So I assume all of those are kind of different. Those are brought up through their own company. Like Toyota has theirs, right? Costa has theirs.
Yeah.
Bass Champs actually has their incentives listed, that Bass Champs actually gives you the check. So I would get that check from Bass Champs, the $5,000. But if we had won, that 7,200 was going to come from Skeeter, or 7,500 is going to come from Skeeter. I'm interested to see what theirs is. And
How it works with there.
So when I looked on their website, and this is the only suggestion I'll tell them. I'm not knocking them. I'm just telling you what they should. If it was me, to me, like, make yourselves look better. So they have, like, I know you can't see this, but it has sponsors on first place, and it says Phoenix. And it has Phoenix, which means they probably got the whatever that incentive money is. And then the second place has Phoenix Garmin. So it shows.
They didn't say amounts or anything like that?
No, so it shows Phoenix. So it has 4 Phoenixes and 4 Garmins. So like Phoenix, it has Phoenix on 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th, and Garmin at 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 7th. So there's some. I guarantee you that's what it is. That's money, but it doesn't show it in the payout.
Well, speaking of,
oh, wait a minute. I'm wrong. I gotta say, I take that back. I don't know what's going. Never mind. There's Garmin and Phoenix in the sponsors all the way down to all the way down. So it's just telling you that they have them. I guarantee you there's some money there. I'd like to know what it is.
Yeah, and so we listened to you a little bit about incentives, FYI. So we both have 2 brand new Bass Cats coming. We as Copper State Tackle just turned to a marine and tackle shop. We ordered some Bass Cats. We're going to be carrying Bass Cats, and the incentive is pretty sweet through the Brandon Belt.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, it's so for both of us owning a Bass Cat through the Quest program, we can earn an extra $11,250
a piece.
No, together.
Okay.
We both own one.
It's
like
like
$7,500 a piece.
If y'all win.
If separately, yeah. Yep. If we win a team tournament, we can both 11
yeah, even though we're in just his Bass Cat or just my Bass Cat, we're both collecting money.
Yeah.
Even being the co-angler, just because we own a Bass Cat too, we get our purse money just goes up.
I've never heard of that, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
no,
pretty sweet.
Well, not with the boat. I've never heard of that. Costa, I believe, does that. Costa, I think, pays for, but like if both of you have Costas,
yeah,
Toyotas will do that in team tournaments. That if both of you have it, they'll both pay you. But
yeah, we didn't even know about it until we were talking to David at Copper State. David Lewis, he's the owner, and we're like, hey, what can we earn with the Bass Cat incentives? Because we know Brandon Belt's a Bass Cat circuit, and he's like, well, there's actually a team option. Like if you both own a new Bass Cat, you get 11-2. which is pretty cool. So that, like I said, I haven't seen that as far as like combined.
No.
You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I'm
usually just whoever's boat it is gets
Yeah.
the check.
So it's called first flight. Like I said, I know that. So, but that's still Bass Cat paying y'all though.
Correct. But there's also the Bass Cat incentives from Brandon Belt that I don't know if you saw the announcement.
It's like $2,000 for the highest Bass Cat finisher.
And
Now,
then
see,
also,
that's way different, and that's a big deal. And that's what I was.
And
Yeah, like
a new Bass Cat for the high, not AOY winner, the highest Bass Cat AOY winner
Is what?
So like
brand new Bass Cat.
last season, say we were in a Bass Cat to you guys, we would have won a boat.
We would have won a boat last year
Because we're running
in
a
Brandon
Bass.
Belt.
But say no one was running a Bass Cat all the way down until 10th place. 10th place would have won a Bass Cat because they're running a Bass Cat.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Every single Bass Cat owner should be down. I mean, like
100%. And that's
ridiculous.
We're trying to start a little bit of a movement, right? Trying to get some people on board with getting out of their comfort zone, traveling, and showing it can be done even with no experience, or at least trying to be done.
I'm pulling for y'all guys. Look, I'm not pulling y'all to win AOY, but I'm 1,000%. No. But I'm 1,000% going for y'all to like highest finisher AOY.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for y'all all the way. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
So I will say this. I every once in a while, someone will say this. That you're looking at it all wrong. Okay? Every single.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at that comment.
Yeah, I know. So this is all I'm gonna say. Here's why I think incentives are good. Okay. If I'm going to go buy a boat, like I need, like to fish, you have to have a boat. Okay. I'm gonna say this real. There's certain things that you need, right, to do what you do.
You gotta have a gun to shoot. You gotta have a rod to reel. You gotta have,
Correct.
Yeah.
And so even like with baits, it's always pissed me off. Like if someone says, well, oh, you're sponsored by that bait company. I'm like, hey man, I have to throw something in the water.
Might as well do something you love. And you love to throw.
Correct. So I understand. I would never tell someone to go buy a boat for an incentive. Right?
No.
If you have a 15-year-old boat and it runs perfect, I'm not telling you to ever go buy one.
Yeah.
My point is, though, that if you're going to go buy a new boat, just like if I'm going to go buy a new truck, if I'm going to get insurance, if I'm going to get whatever it is,
look at the perks.
What are the perks? And if it says, if there's an insurance company out there and it had an incentive program and it was going to pay me $200, right? If I was the highest finisher at this Brandon Belt deal, you're like, yeah, but it's $200. I'm like, yeah. But every other insurance company out there was this much. I was able to make $200. So now my insurance payment was $200 less than everyone else's.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like the auto glass stuff, right? So auto glass places offer cash or gift cards. You know, if you choose the company, that's the incentive you choose. Well, your glass is already broken. You're already getting a boat. Why not pick the best incentive that you can?
Right. So all these boats are $80,000 or more.
Yeah.
Right?
All.
So if you win at one time and now your boat's not 80, it's 70, you look at going, how much you pay for your boat? 70. I'm not saying go out there and buy one just for an incentive, but what I'm saying is if you're going to buy one and you're like, yeah, every boat costs this much, it's almost like having a $10,000 rebate if you happen to do good. Bass Champs is 3 years. You have 3 years to make a first or second highest finisher. Second highest finisher was $5,000. First was $10,000. So I could look at my boat right now and go, I paid $5,000 less for my boat than everyone else did. That's the way. If I happen to win it again in the next 2 years or whatever, now I get first. That's $10,000. But say I win first and I got in the real money. That's That would be 10,000 at Bass Champs plus another 7,500. Yeah, 17,500 off of a boat is a big deal.
Absolutely.
That's better than 99.9% of boat deals out there.
Yep.
So
something that pays for itself a little bit,
Yeah, I know. So why not? You know what I'm saying?
If you're gonna do it,
you're still gonna have to pay a monthly payment. I get it, but man, why wouldn't you get a little bit of it off? That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, and see, like us, Russell has a Vexus, so
yep, there you go. Yeah,
we're gonna fish the ones with we can mix and match. You know what I'm saying? And we've always done that. I'm putting out a video tomorrow. So I did a video on incentive money yesterday, and my video tomorrow, I hope it doesn't make anyone mad. I try to just be honest. I know someone's going to be like, man, I don't know, but it was like, how do I split up incentive money? Now, y'all don't have to worry about incentive money because I've seen how y'all fish and the way y'all do things. It's so 50-50. And so I kind of go into that about like me and Russell. Yeah, we're just going to split any money we make because we're always, it's irrelevant. Even if I miss every single day of practice for an event, I'll make it back up on another event, right? So we fish enough to it's no big deal. But there are some guys out there that are questioning whether or not they should split the money. And I don't want to give the video away, but I mean, there's scenarios out there where I'd be like, hey, man, yeah, you should probably keep all the incentive money.
Yeah.
And it's usually a situational thing based of you have a boat, that guy doesn't have a boat. And a lot of them are like, that guy kind of doesn't buy the boat because you have one. And so there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it might be maybe I was 17 years old fishing with a guy. I couldn't buy a boat. I'm out there working and fishing as hard as I possibly can.
That's when that guy has to step up and use his truck, or if you don't have a boat, use your truck, and we use my boat, or vice versa. So that it's fair, so that you can split the money.
Right, and I go into the fact of man, there's some guys out there that don't have the money but have the time to go practice a bunch.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, as a team, you might be like, man, I got the boat and I'm doing all this, and I have a job that's doesn't allow me, but this guy, he can borrow my boat, and we get out there and we find he's really good. He finds a lot of the fish that we win money off of. I would do it that way. But there's some other guys that feel bad that I'm like, hey man, if you're already feeling bad that you probably shouldn't split it because you can kind of, I'm just saying I've seen partners like that.
Yeah. Probably
keep it. It's okay. Yeah. But for the most part, me and Russell split everything, and I've split almost everything. One guy said when I won the money, he was one of my really good friends from that, and he was a saltwater fisherman, and he just wanted to come up and fish a tournament, and we won. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna pay you this. He's like, I'm not taking it, dude. That's all I did was show up and get in the boat with you, and we had a blast. But you take that, you take it. I was like, all right.
I got a buddy that fishes with me.
I think we've had those buddies that are self-aware in that sense.
Yeah.
And you take care of them another way, when they least expect it.
Yeah. So like this, 100%. I split it. It's not even a question. Just like if we win Brandon Belts out of his Vexus, 10 grand, we're splitting that. It's not even, we don't even question it. I mean, but we both, like you said, like y'all do, we're trying to split. It's not even about the money we do for our boats. To me, I care more about how much time and effort did you do within the practice part of it and the effort you put with it. It's not luckily no one will say this, but it's never about oh, you caught all the fish. I hope no one ever says that.
Yeah, no.
Because we never think that way.
About finding them and patterning them out.
Dude, I'll net 30 pounds. I won't even cast.
we literally just had an event, literally just like this, and I've been in the same boat. We had an event earlier this year that I was in the boat where he caught all 3 big ones at Bartlett, and we won the tournament. Had a massive bag, and I was netting all his big fish, and I was like, "Keep it coming, come on, let's go."
I'll sit down there. Like
Yeah.
if Russell, I wouldn't even let Russell Cole. If Russell catch, I mean, hey, go back to fishing, man. I got you.
And,
That's how I am.
well, funny you say that because literally in our championship that we had this fall for Fishing 48, we had a spot that they were fired up. I mean, it was cast after cast after cast, and we thought we had a short window to do it. And he's back there. He's like, just go, just keep going. And he's just back there calling as fast as he can while I'm fishing and just pulling. I mean, same thing, but that's part of functioning well together as a team and like leaning on each other when he's hot or I'm hot or, however it is, that's what you got to do.
Right. I'm just reading stuff. And hard to call 6,500 when a win in an $80,000 investment.
How many times can you win that in a year, though?
Well, so Skeeter, I looked it up.
Hold on. That just sounds ridiculous to me. So are you fishing tournaments? Are you putting $1,200 towards an entry fee?
Yeah, like $6,500 is
paying gas money?
That's
you got a lot of expenses besides just an $80,000 investment that money can pay for.
If someone was gonna just have me $6,500 or $10,000 for an incentive, hey,
I'm turning it down.
I'll gladly take it.
Oh my God, dude! Hey, me and Russell. So we were sitting there after, and I had to get back, and I was sitting there, and we were looking. I do this all the time, by the way, but I was looking around, going, okay, I knew the guys in first, then I knew McCall, and I was like, all right, and I was going down the list of like no Skeeter, and I saw Brian shot, and I go, oh man, Brian shot. And I was like, Russell, he always used to run a Skeeter. What do you think? He's like, yeah, he always ran one. And then he turned around and I just hadn't and I see Skeeter on his hat. And I'm like, dang it. Okay, there's one. And we kind of went through the list. And then the tournament director came up to me. He's like, hey, y'all got it. Y'all got the second one. Well, that $5,000 incentive check was freaking giant to us. I mean, we got a check in the event. We won $1,400 in the event plus $5,000. So we were sitting around, we were about to leave, but we had to sit there and make sure our boat was up and everything.
I
but
mean, can we not just say free money? Any type of free money is a win?
That's what I said. Like, it's a lot better than not getting an incentive check.
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
Like, think about all the people that aren't getting a check.
Yeah.
And
that have the $80,000 investments still.
Yeah. So in like the coat, like it's great. And they had like Techron stuff, and they had Techron, Garmin. They paid for Garmin Live Scope, Garmin trolling motors. They did all that through Bass Champs. That's a bigger deal. So Texas Team Trail did the same thing, right? They would pay through their trail. I was shocked. I was highly shocked when Skeeter said that we're going to pay you incentive money, and then Skeeter was going to pay you extra money. I couldn't believe that.
I didn't realize that's what.
Okay, so Bass Champs.
I thought it was just Skeeter gave them the incentive money, but it's separate.
So Bass Champs, if we had won, we would have won $25,000 plus the 10,000 highest finisher, so 35,000. Then I didn't call Skeeter up for this. But there's no way they wouldn't have done this, because I looked on their trails that they'll pay you for the 7,500. Bass Champs was on there. So they only pay you if you win. So I was like, well, they're not going to put Bass Champs on there and not pay you, even though they're giving away this $10,000 in Bass Champs. So I'm like, so that's why I put on there, we're fishing for 42,000 last week, because it was actually like 42.5, but I didn't know about the Garmin. So there was another 500 in there. So there was really like 43,000. And then there were some other incentives. But yeah, it's crazy,
That's a win in my book.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I understand that it's not a gimmick, in the sense of a gimmick, something that's like not real.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
gimmick something to fool you.
Yeah, it's not fooling you. It's just saying, and it's literally what the definition is. if you do this, you could do this. You could win this. As opposed to if you buy this, we'll see. We'll see you. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Into a better fisherman. You never know.
Yeah, I'm just like, no.
I do something to look forward to.
I would never tell someone to go buy a boat because of the incentive.
No, yeah.
I would
if
say
you're in the market for a boat, you pick the best one with the best incentives.
And I would say go look at them because
exactly, yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Like that to me is just not smart, right? Why wouldn't you go look at the options of like what, like that Bass Cat thing? Say you were around Texas and you're going, I'm fishing the Brandon Belts next year. Hey, and by the way, I got to get a new boat. And I mean, it'd be if someone goes, yeah, by the way, Bass Cat's giving away this, and this for highest finisher. Yeah, I don't care about that. I'm not even going to go look at that.
Not even look at it as an option. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even a Bass Cat guy. I don't have him, but I'm not going to sit there and say why, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm only talking about the Skeeter money because not because I have a Skeeter, but I looked into it because of Bass Champs. And so in all reality, I'm not going to buy a Skeeter necessarily because of the incentive money. However, I know all the trails Skeeter pays, and I might pick those tournaments based on that. So like Bass Champs is high on our list to go fish because of that. It's a win-win either way. Just like for y'all Bass Cat, it's a win-win.
Yep.
Yeah, me and Russell give each other 1099s anyways, so it doesn't matter. And I wanted to so that's the one thing that sucks for y'all is that we split, like, yeah, we always so when there was a 3-day practice, at least one of those practices me and Russell fish together. But we'll probably fish separately practice. I know y'all listen, there's advantages of fishing together. And that's why me and Russell when there was a 3-day practice, and depending on there's situations where we'll both practice together. Because it can help.
100%. I mean, it's there's definitely pros and cons of both. I definitely say there's 100% pros and cons to both. And I think it's good if you have the option to and the availability to do both. If we were home and we're doing this like at this level, I think we'd probably fish the first day of Brandon Belt practice separately and then convene and fish together on the second day.
Y'all will be way more dialed in if you fish together at the same boat. When you start the first day, you will be way more dialed in.
Yep.
Than as opposed to us, because now that's a lot because of how we practice too. Y'all probably practice the same way that you're like, some guys go out there and they feel like they're dialed in because they freaking leaned on them. We're trying to get as little of bites as possible. We're trying to get just enough bites to kind of know what's going on. And then we try to figure it out as the day goes on. But when you're together, man, there's some times where one guy gets 7 bites, the other guy gets 14, and you're going, hey, you're still going to get bites, but man, I can be doing this while you're doing this, and it's freaking going to work.
100%. We do that. That's 100%.
So I'm going to go back to this real quick because this probably needs a little bit of explanation. I'm glad you said a real partnership. You put a real in there. Yes, on a real partnership, you split everything. A real partnership is 2 guys out there putting in the same amount of, it doesn't have to be money. To me, it's more effort. Yeah. And I have been in some years and years ago, I've been in situations. Now, when I say effort, it's this. If you have to work and are going to miss a lot of practice, right? And then that one, like you're taking off practice, like off work, a holiday, or whatever, or vacation time. and you're like, man, I'm gonna get me one good practice day in there, and it's a vacation time and time away from family and all that. Like, I get that, right? But then I'm just telling you, there's a lot of guys out there that are like, they don't have the boat, they don't do that. They're like, man, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna go hunting on that Friday. I'll show up Saturday. I can't tell you how many guys
hopefully you got them figured out for us.
yeah, like, listen, and if you think that's not going on, that's going on so much. So I'm always like, I've never cared about some guy having to work a lot or anything like that. That's not we all have lives and things happen. But I'm telling you, it's the ones that are going, you get out to go fill up the gas tank, and that guy ain't never got, like, he's just sitting in the car like this, waiting for you to fill up your truck. And then the boat, I'm just telling you, there's a ton of guys out there.
Oh, we see them. I mean, you see it too. It happens. Luckily, I've been fortunate enough with Rob. I mean, we both know when each other's not putting in the effort, and we both know when each other is, and we both hold each other accountable.
Right.
And that's huge. And seem like, hey, like let's go, or hey, like, you're just dilly dallying. Come on, let's go. And that's key in a team tournament is.
Or hey, don't catch any more fish.
or put that bait down.
It's time to leave. Yeah. We've caught enough.
Well, hey, so when I fish Kettner events, and like I'll have my Kettner practice. This is even like, and Clay, I apologize. This happens to me all the time, man. Y'all start going so many comments. I'm trying to do it, and then after a while, like they're probably late. That was probably at 3:11. Yeah, so I'm 10 minutes behind. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get there. What I'll say is see, Clay, God dang it, now you made me forget what I was going to say. You got me all flustered. What were we talking about? Something about partners and then
effort.
Huh? Yeah, it wasn't the effort. God dang it. He got me. Clay got me. So I'm just going to have to move on now. They're still going on it. They are giving away like 3 bass cats.
Yes, they are.
The 1099s. It's rarely that much money at the end of the year, because usually a lot of times they'll like TXTT write you separate checks.
Yeah. A lot of them do separate individually.
A lot of them, I mean, a lot of times on tax. Yeah, and even like someone's gonna probably get on there and be like, they should get, and this is true.
Right.
This is what I was gonna say. Thank you, Bro Crew, because I was about to say something and I'm like, I know I'm right, but it was gonna come off wrong. We both Bass Champs will send me the 1099 on the Skeeter money. But for our $1,400 check, he's getting a 1099 for $700 and I'm getting one for $700.
Yeah. So
what I'm not going to do is, if I cash that $1,400 check and give Russell $700, you can 1099 them, but I mean, I just keep records of everything. And at the end of the day, it's really about, you can see a check. If I write him a check, it's going to show that I wrote a check out to him. Like, in probably the perfect scenario, yes, I can give him a 1099 for that. But a lot of times, I mean, I don't have to give him a 1099. He's getting one. All I really have to show is that to an IRS is that I actually wrote him a $700 check. Yeah. Really. I mean, if you just keep records like we all do, I mean, it's, if they wanted to go through it, they're going to see where I wrote him a check. I deposited it, wrote him the check. He got a 1099 for $700. We keep records.
Yeah. Not too hard to follow.
I'm sure there's some guy on here going,
that's not how it's done.
Yeah. He got me. He did get me flustered. Nathan. Oh, co-anglers. Thanks, Wayne. Now I remember. So I'll have it. I totally remember now. So I'll have co-anglers practice with me at times, right? And and the guy I usually practice with.
Is it usually somebody you know or somebody
Yeah,
you don't know?
100%. Well,
okay. So when you practice for a pro event, do you ever take anybody out that's going to be paired up with you? Do you know ahead of time?
No. So the only time I've ever had to do that was in the All-American. We had one practice day, and the guy who was going to be my first day draw practice. But that was when they were making us practice out of, like, we had to fish tournaments out of their Rangers and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
But all right, make sure I don't lose track again.
Go
So
ahead.
I usually one guy I didn't meet until last year in the Bassmaster Open on Toledo. He went. I've never met him. He was on my private channel stuff, and he asked to go because he was fishing on his conger. And for a split second, I was like, because I just don't. Man, they're strangers, I don't know. But I was like, yeah, come on. And it was great because I said one day, and he ended up practicing the rest of the time with me because he was awesome, right? So we ended up having a great time. Like, he can practice it with me any other time, right? But the Opens only allow you to practice with someone that event. Because we had official practice days. The Toyotas, I don't think that's the case. But I rarely practice with anyone anyways, but my buddy Gilbert practiced with me for the Toyotas, and I just found out he's not fishing them. Like yesterday I found out, and so I don't even have a coingler leak, so I have to figure out a coingler. So if you know any coinglers that don't link up, let me know. But
Southern Division,
the Southwest, so it's Texas, yeah. But I'll tell him, one, I give Gilbert a hard time, especially if he catches too many. But for the most part, he'll shake them off. I'll joke with a coingler every once in a while who's been in there, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm about to come back there and cut your hook off. Because I'll ask him, do you know how to shake off fish? And I'm telling you, within the first bite, I can tell if you've never shake. They'll say yes, but I can see that they don't have no idea how to shake a fish off.
Yeah.
I can tell it with anyone. I'm like, oh, that's the guy. You set the hook on everything. Because they don't know how to shake a fish off. And I'm like, hey, that's not how you do it. And they're like, well, it won't drop it. I'm like, give it to me. So I'll take their rod and make them drop it. And I'm like, oh, so you're just catching fish in practice. I'm just telling you, I can tell instantly.
Yeah. You got any Arizona boys commenting on there?
Well, I wouldn't know unless they have Arizona.
They're gonna say something.
See, look, there's, yeah, and Peter said, like, that's a real partnership, and Pete, I agreed with you on that. Like,
it's what you can do.
I agreed with him because I said a real partnership, you split everything 100%. True, because two people are actually doing it the right way. That is a real partnership. I totally agree with you. I'm saying that there's this. This doesn't even bother me either. There's a lot of guys. Look, you kind of have to know what you said it earlier about being self-aware.
Yeah.
I've totally seen certain guys like hook up as fishing partners where one guy's, and I've had guys come to me with this, like, hey, I got the entry fees and this and this and this and da-da-da. But I know he's probably not the best fisherman. I will go for the better fisherman all day long as a team partner. And that's why when me and Russell got together, I'm like, here we go. Because there's going to be, like I said, we don't care. We always joke too, like, we don't ever care about being famous. I'll tell you that in a second, but like, we don't care about any of that stuff. We just care about like cash and checks. So we don't care who catches them. We don't care about we don't care about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
We just care about like, how can we do the best? And for me, like, you might save a bunch of money fishing with the other guy, but you probably won't win as much. Right. And I'll take my chances on trying to win more with a better fisherman in the boat, as opposed to a guy who wants to pay for everything. But those are good guys. They're not bad.
Absolutely.
But it's hard. you can win tournaments by yourself, fishing team tournaments, but in the long run, you better have that guy helping you out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes, sir.
See.
Yeah. The sugar daddy fishermen's.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's times when I probably would have wanted that, you know, because like I was so when I was young, man, like I didn't have so I don't know if anyone realizes this. When I was like in college, I didn't have a boat. And so when I was going back home all the time to fish with my buddy Eddie, he had like an 18.5-foot Triton. And we were fishing a lot of tournaments on Conroe and Livingston and stuff, Houston, whatever. I didn't have a boat. But if I went down there, he'd let me borrow the boat and I'd go practice while he was working, you know? And so, yeah, he had the boat, but he was working and I had the time because I was in college. I wouldn't practice I had Fridays off. And so I would meet back up with him and like, I'd take his boat, go practice for us. That's a partnership, right? It was a weird 50-50, but we practiced, won a whole bunch of money. He had the boat. And for years we did that. I mean, so when we won our first boat on Conroe, I didn't have a boat. I was fishing out of his, but I had time to like, you know, to go practice and he didn't. So like you can always find, I was never mad at him not practicing. I was so thankful that he just let me borrow his boat. You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of people think 50-50 needs to be.
I put $50 in the gas tank and so did you.
Yeah, it 50-50 doesn't always work like that. It's how you can put your 50% in.
Correct. I remember one time we were making brush piles, and I was working a lot and I was just working, and so I was so this will be funny. So I was delivering pizzas. Okay, yeah, that's what I did in college because I was able to make a bunch of cash, right? I'd worked there long enough to where I'd never worked a weekend in like 4 years or 5 years. Cause like I would work all through the week. So I got to make my entire schedule all the time I wanted to. And so on deliveries though, late at night, I'd be driving around after Christmas time. And so in between, and I had a truck. So in between deliveries, I'd be driving down neighborhoods and stuff. I'd see a Christmas tree. So I'd jump out real quick, throw the Christmas tree in my truck. So in a matter of like a week, I collected like 40, 50 Christmas trees, right? From driving around at night, and I'd stop by the house, throw them all out.
Yeah.
And then we started working on them a couple months later. Well, you know, like I said, if you go do all that and you're working on them, and then you got a buddy who's like, has all this time in the world and doesn't want to help you. And then tournament comes, you know, you go sink him, do all that stuff, and he's like, "All right, man, let's go fish." And you're like,
Let's
"Yeah,
fish all
man."
the brush piles you put together for us.
Yeah, and like they were all there, ready to go. Like you didn't help at all, and you weren't really working. You know, so it's like that stuff is what I think happens in team like partnerships. You know, like you get one guy really making an effort, and like I said, it's not about the you know, some people have lives and work and kids and all that stuff, but if you see their priorities not aligned with yours, then you're like, and when I say your priority should be job, family, and all that stuff, but then you have a day off and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go hunting over here, I'm gonna go drinking at the bar or whatever, and you're like, all right, man, well, I got 20 other people that want to go fish.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that once that happens to a partnership, I always tell everyone,
you got to share the same passion.
It's going away. Like that partnership's done. It might be a year, but you just don't realize it. But it's over with. I've seen it. It never gets better because he doesn't look at it the same way you do. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you probably just don't. There's going to be a resentment that never leaves you. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep. 100%.
I will say they're dogging you about the flat brims.
About the what?
The flat brims.
Arizona boys.
Yeah.
We're West Coast. West
Look,
Coast.
there's a little curve on it.
This one is about. Oh, here he goes. I always have.
Well, I got a flat belly, but
Not me.
Seth don't got no. He got a fat belly.
Yeah. It's storage for all my long hours on the water.
It's hard to find hats that don't, like, most hats now kind of have a flatter brim anyways.
Yeah.
This is a true statement. Team partners make for good enemies.
Very true. Very true.
This is great. You wouldn't know this. How about this, Ricky? Probably little to none. Just letting you know. Like me, I don't put out any piles, and I rarely fish piles. Like, there's a lot of us that don't fish piles. Everyone kind of thinks anyone that does good on Rayburn fishes piles.
A secret brush pile.
We didn't even know.
We had no clue there were even brush piles on Rayburn.
We didn't even know what they looked like.
There might be more brush piles on Rayburn than any lake in the country.
I believe it.
And I mean, you would think that would be a good thing, but if you really think about it, it's not. And then if everyone's just fishing, yeah, because there's so many of them. And then I probably went 4 or 5 years without ever throwing out a brush pile. I just refuse to. But I think it's one of those things where when you see a guy who wins a lot, they're like, oh, he must have brush piles. And
see, that's something that's completely different than us in Arizona. It's illegal to sink any habitat.
Well, I don't know if it's illegal on Rayburn. I think you're supposed to go like get a. No one ever's done.
Well, I'm saying if you put anything artificial, Christmas trees without. It has to be through Game and Fish. They have to do it.
You can't even pull something off the bank.
You can't even pull something off the bank into the water. It's illegal.
Someone have said that it's somewhat illegal. Like, it's like one of those things where your speed limit's 55, don't go 60. But if you pulled up next to a cop going 60, he's never going to pull you over. It's one of those deals. I think if game wardens saw people, I mean, it's not like people are hiding it. They do it right in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
There might be like this little rule that says we're supposed to get a permit, or I don't know. I've never known anyone that's gotten it. And I know, I'm telling you, I don't know how big you find. Rayburn is massive. And I'm telling you, you would be shocked how many they have. It is insane. Crazy. Only illegal if you get. So let's see. You need approval in Texas as of today.
It's only illegal if you get caught. That's funny.
Now, Sam Rayburn does have brush pile police. There's been some guys that have gotten in trouble pulling up on people, like crappie fishermen going nuts. Like one was pretty bad, and then one guy got mad enough that he anchored a sign to one, like a floating sign, saying this is so and so's. But like I'm just telling you, man.
Oh man.
And it's like there's a bunch of stuff, but I mean, I will say, like, that's the crazy part. It is like it's kind of like duck blinds. People don't realize that about duck blinds. And I'm not saying everywhere. I mean, like I didn't want to say this. I'm not even gonna say it. But that's all true. That's all true.
Man. Oh man.
But there's definitely the whole brush pile thing is hilarious because people that I know that the only ones that really get mad are the crappie fishermen because they're out there and they're putting them out there and they're guiding on it, right?
Yeah.
And my only thing with them is like, look, there's 14 million of them out there. I don't know which pile is whose, right? For one, there's so many of them, it's ridiculous. But the way these guys handle it is the problem. is that they like come up there guns blazing,
Right.
you know, and it's like, and they just, and then they get a bad rap from everyone because they're like, no, I'm not moving. If you'd have just asked me nicely, maybe, but like that, it's never happened to me. I'm just saying it's happened to a lot of people. Yeah, I don't really care if it's just a fine if you get caught. Like I said, I don't think anyone's actually gonna, I've never heard of anyone, getting in trouble for it.
Yeah.
So, what time y'all getting out there tomorrow?
Whenever the fog lays out.
Is it going to be foggy?
It's probably going to be, yeah.
Every morning I wake up, it hadn't really been foggy, but I hadn't really paid attention either.
Yeah, we'll probably be out there bright and early.
I'm interested to see because I keep on checking the water level, and I don't do what?
We keep checking it too, about 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like I said, I mean, there's a rumor every year that when the lake gets low that they're working on the dam. It is maybe the first, I think it's happened twice where it's actually not a rumor because it does seem to be staying low. And I don't know if they're pulling on it. Now, if they're pulling on it, that means they're sucking it down. So I'm interested. I'll be able to tell whether or not it just hasn't risen, but I also live north of Rayburn. And so I know the areas that it has to. So my mom just sent me a picture, and it's of Livingston, and she's talking about it. Well, Livingston, there's certain lakes that can flood. Like if it floods in Dallas, it can come down to Livingston because there's no lakes that stops down in between. So if it floods up there, like bad floods, it'll come down and essentially Livingston can rise without ever getting rain on it. Now it's raining down on Livingston too.
Yeah.
So it's getting the watershed. Our watershed for Rayburn, it all starts in like these little creeks in Nacogdoches, Longview, Tyler. And so if it doesn't rain anywhere but that area or Rayburn proper, Rayburn won't come up. So I'm looking at some of the creeks around here. Like there's a couple I drove over today. I judge them. And I'm like, well, it's getting some rain. It's flowing, but we've been so low, it's going to take a lot for it to do. But
yeah,
they might be sucking it down. And so
it's going to be a whole new lake for us. I'll say that.
Yeah. So y'all have never seen it this low. It's like 7, might be at 7.5. And now it probably would be 7 or 6.5 by if they're not sucking it, it's going to come up, but it's still pretty low. Like, so I will say, like, I idled through 147 the other day. I ran it the other day thinking I was trying to remember if I could run it, and I ran it. And the other, like 3 weeks ago, I ran it. And then like last week I idled it and I kicked up dirt the whole way. And I was going, oh, I think it was like this when I ran it.
Like in the boat lane chip?
Yeah. Well, on the 147, like going through the islands, yeah, I just ran it because I'm just so used to running it. And there was water there, so I didn't think much about it. But when I idled it and maybe it dropped 4 or 5 inches, but yeah, it was dirt.
Holy
like I was kicking it. I made it, but I was kicking it.
Are you talking about taking the path in between the islands behind?
Yeah, don't run that.
But that's not what the one you're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, if it comes up 3 inches, you could run it because I still wouldn't run it. Like you better know.
We never run in between there. We just always go on, kind of close to the island if we run that.
Yeah, I never run out there, but you got to realize that it's probably fine now with the lake, but for even like 10 years ago, if the lake just came down a little bit, that whole thing stumps. It's all stumps out there. And over years, all those stumps eventually all start getting. So anytime the lake comes down for a while and it shows those stumps and they dry out, that's what makes them knock off. So over time, those stumps continually get lower. But it's one of those things that any of us or I know a couple of us guys, we just can't make that run because we've never made that run. It's not
So if you were to run up to like Jackson Hill, would you need to go on the south side first and then cut up once you pass the 147?
Yeah, if I were, yes, I would go or the southwest
on the north side.
Yeah, don't stay. You can stay on the north side till you get to like the Harvey Creek, close to the Harvey Creek, not the Harvey Creek boat ramp, and then you start going like to Calhoun Point where mud is.
Yeah,
and then you hit the bridge.
The pass through between the Black Forest and the Amber.
Yeah. But pay attention because that's not going to look the same to you anymore. There's going to be stumps where you're like, ooh, those stumps come out a lot farther than I realized.
We just probably stay on the south side if we go up there.
Well, it's sketchy to run the very south side of like going through before Peckerwood Point.
Where's that at? I don't know what that is.
Well, I wouldn't run the whole south side of the lake.
Really?
No, because like when I ran it the other day, like I could see bottom when I was driving. Like I looked over and I'm like, yeah, that's sand. And there's some stumps there. Now the stumps might only be this big, but you might only be driving in this much water. If it comes up 6 inches, you're probably fine. But I mean, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm driving in 2 foot.
So then you need to go out of Humphrey on the north bank and then make the pass through.
I would.
That's the safest route.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I would go. And now when you go underneath that bridge, look on your map for high spots because those high spots are out of the water. Out there on that flat out in front of Jackson Hill to that whole bridge area.
Yeah.
There's like 2 high spots, one right underneath the bridge and then one out there in the middle. And it's out of water. Like you can see it. So yeah.
That will be interesting.
I mean, like, so guys are like, yeah, don't run that. I mean, look, you can run anything, but I would run like I just told you.
Yeah.
Is it? So yeah, just run the north side all the way to you can and that cut through where mud is.
Harvey, yeah.
And then you're good to go. And you can see the stumps. Like if you're far enough away from stumps, you're not going to hit these. The stumps are always grouped up. There's not if there's a random stump out there, it's not random. It's a floater. It's a floater that's got lodged somewhere. But the stumps are always in pockets, or not in pockets. You
together groups, yeah.
Yeah, like so you can draw a line around all of them, and there won't be some random one sticking further out.
Gotcha.
Well, that was good. Look, he had enough. See you later, Robert.
I think his bladder. He said, "See you later, Robert." I think his bladder got a little full. He's been down in Gatorades. Well,
I'm gonna let y'all get. I've got. We haven't even been able to do anything. It's been raining so bad down here. Yeah. But I'm about to go start getting ready for tomorrow because we're probably driving in the morning. And
right on.
If you need anything, holler at us.
Appreciate it, man.
If we can't help you, we'll know someone that can.
I appreciate it, man.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. And good luck this weekend. And should be fun. We'll
y'all
see.
Too. Like I'm pulling y'all for the points race. Right? Just right.
Man.
Look, hey.
We got some revenge to be had.
I know.
Revenge to be had. So we had 2 tournaments that really screwed us last year and that whole ordeal. But hopefully it turns out a little differently for us. I know you don't wish that, but that's okay.
Well, man, hey, we're in a pretty good mood because our entry fees are free.
That's nice, and we're in the same boat. I like that too.
Yeah. So who's paying? Well, Brandon's paying ours.
No, we're talking about Texas Team Trail.
Oh yeah. So we got free entry fees in this one for so like
that's nice. That's a big.
Oh, because you guys want AOI for bold, right?
Yep.
Hey, big time.
Hey man, like that's what I'm saying. We're looking around, going, man, yeah, it's gonna be a fun year of going. I had to go make sure because I know Russell registered, but it's you kind of forget since you're like, well, I don't have to pay anything.
Right.
But, oh, hold on.
Copper State Tackle.
Yeah, go again.
Copper State Tackle, guys. I'll do my little plug here, but
do it,
guys. David Lewis owns Copper State Tackle. He's phenomenal. there's not a tackle guy that I know, and I've been in a million tackle shops, that literally tries to get everything in brand new, the newest stuff out as quick as possible, as well as stuff that you can't even find in the United States typically. For instance, like we just got the Bay Rough heads in from Duo Realis. Those are very hard to find and very sought after. We got a bunch of them in that probably already gone, but that's just an example. And then he takes great care of the anglers, and biggest Sixth Sense dealer in the world.
Does he have any gravel dogs?
Gravel dogs. I'm not following that one. He used to breed bulldogs.
That's my strike. That's the Strike King crankbait that I designed.
Oh,
you got some of those?
I don't actually. Like, I literally called him yesterday because I've made videos about this. I still have all the prototypes, but they're literally not. They don't even have like clear bills on them and stuff. But I think they just started shipping. Like, a guy sent me a text message that he found like a couple of them somewhere. They're starting to ship out, but I think this all happened the last day or two.
If it's new, I'm sure we're getting it in.
You're getting it in.
Yeah, David has a ton of stuff at Copper State, and we're expanding. Just so everybody knows, we're expanding, taking over the next door area. We're growing by about 250, 300% as far as the tackle shop.
And then we're
overfilled.
Yeah, no, and then we're gonna be doing boat mechanics, services, stuff like that, rigging, boat restoration, and then we picked up bass cats, so we'll be selling bass cats.
Whoa. Y'all,
and then I run the guide service, so we're trying to make it a one-stop shop out there. So anybody that wants to come fish some Arizona lakes, hit us up.
What is it like? I don't have to. If people can't figure out how to do Copper State tackle on the internet anymore,
copperstatetackle.com, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure people Google's bound to be working at least a little bit.
sometimes it doesn't work for people, man. For some reason.
Well, trust me, we had a hard time figuring out what entry fees were for the Alabama Bass Trail and the payout.
Oh,
I mean, I was looking at the wrong website. I didn't know about the 100, and then
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is it WW? I mean, yeah, like
it's a WW.
WWE.
What is that one? I always think about that one old movie with and he was like, "It's on the line," and they're like, "You mean online?" Yeah, it's on the line.
That's so weird that you said that. I responded to somebody that said, "See you soon." I said, "I'll see you on the line." From the internship.
Yeah, from the intern.
Yeah.
Not the intern. Well, is it?
Yeah,
it's definitely the one with.
He makes the Instagram that's opposite of Instagram. Yeah, on the line.
Yeah, and he kept on going, "Hey, we need to do this one thing."
Yeah,
where
Vince Vaughn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Vince Vaughn. Yeah, for sure, that one. But he kept on trying to do the one where he's like, "So we're gonna put these pictures and we're gonna put it on the line." And he's like, "You mean like whatever he says, Snapchat or Facebook?" He's like, "No, it's different because we're gonna take
on the line
and put it on the line." Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
that's it.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate it, Todd, and best of luck to you, brother.
All right, I'll see y'all out there.
It sounds good, brother.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
How's it going?